Car reveal season is continuing, and Alpine have now shown off their car for 2024. With their poor performance last season, many people expected them to completely overhaul their car, but that isn't the case. It's a brave move by Alpine, which might come back to haunt them, especially with their drivers threatening to leave the team. Today, I'll check out the Alpine car reveal, what we can expect from the team this season, and whether they can keep either of their drivers. So, let's get to it. The 2024 car reveals are in full swing at the moment. You might not have realized due to everything happening with Hamilton and Horner, but I promise they are happening. Normally, these car reveals before the season begins reveal absolutely nothing about what the cars actually look like when they make it to pre-season testing in 2 weeks' time. I'm not talking about livery, obviously we know what that's going to look like. I'm talking about what's beneath the paint. The actual shape of the aero parts. The Sauber reveal was especially revealing, and you can check out my video on that after this one. Before we talk about the Alpine car though, I want to briefly mention the appointment of a newish team principal. Bruno Famin will take over as team principal on a permanent basis heading into the 2024 Formula 1 season. The Frenchman was drafted in as interim team boss following the decision to relieve Otmar Safnauer of his duties last July. Clearly, he impressed the team's investors in the second half of the 2023 season. With the fresh backing of several superstar investors into the Enstone team, he'll be hoping to make an impression by breaking into the top 5 teams heading into the next couple of seasons. Right, let's talk about the actual car. Alpine became the 4th F1 team to officially launch its car for the upcoming season. The A524 was unveiled for the first time at a gathering at Enstone for a full motorsport launch event that also saw the French brand's World Endurance Championship effort formally presented. Alpine's new F1 car, which will be driven by continuing teammates Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly, is inspired by their partnership with contemporary artist Philippe Pantone and features a predominantly black livery with blue and pink highlights to build on previous designs. With Austrian water treatment company BWT entering the 3rd year of their title partnership, Alpine's livery will be pink-dominated at 8 of this season's 24 races, having also started the 2022 and 23 seasons in that style. The amount of black on the car is very noticeable, and many fans have been quick to voice their disapproval. It is a trend that is spreading across the grid as teams shed weight by removing paint in an attempt to gain precious thousandths of a second of lap time. Alpine will head into the new campaign looking to bounce back from a low-key 2023, which saw them fall from 4th to 6th in the constructors' standings, and finish in a midfield no-man's land between Aston Martin and Williams. Speaking at Wednesday's launch, newly appointed team principal Bruno Famin said, "It's a great moment for Alpine Motorsports to come together and officially present its programs for the 2024 season. The next stage on our journey is deploying everything to the track, applying operational excellence across the board, and growing a greater dynamic and mindset from all our teams. We're all very much looking forward to continuing the hard work to bring the Alpine name success. 2023 was far from a disaster for the team, but it was certainly embarrassing. The team culled their senior management mid-season as it became apparent that they weren't making progress quick enough. Their perpetual rivals McLaren absolutely destroyed them, and Aston Martin embarrassed them with their performance. Alpine's new management team will want to start the season strongly to prove that they can match the improvements found by the teams around them. Alpine's technical director Matt Harmon offered some insight into what his team had done to the A524 over the winter. The A524 approach has been aggressive but deliberate in the fact we are creating a wider scope to add performance to the car, explained Harmon. We've really focused on learning and reacting to what we've learnt rather than on results. The project has been bold, where we've focused on realizing concepts which we aim to add to the car. We've built ourselves a strong platform to add performance when we can, and we've set ourselves targets to deliver those. We've pushed some elements to the limit and, in some cases, beyond that. That is all in line with our approach and exactly what we've set out to achieve in progressing this project to the best possible level. So, what does that nice sounding spiel actually mean for the car? Well, the takeaway points of visual difference are a rearranged geometry for the pushrod suspension and a reconfigured sidepod cooling layout, which allows a deeper undercut along the length of the sidepod. There's also been a big push to reduce the chassis weight further and to get better thermal management of the brakes in order to optimize tire performance. A point of note is that they've not changed their front suspension to match that of Red Bull, which was what we expected from most teams during the winter. Alpine Technical Director Matt Harmon gave us a rundown of everything the team has done. We have completely redesigned the chassis, we have a new rear suspension system, optimized the front suspension, and integrated a new heat rejection system to give us more capacity to operate more efficiently at each event. In addition, we've completed a lot of work on our brake system, in particular on the thermal management of the brakes, as there is performance to extract from transmitting heat through the system. Of course, the floor is a big performance differentiator on these cars, and we've opted for an aggressive approach on development in that area to cover a lot of different concepts and really express ourselves. We've also changed the front wing and nose to manage airflow at the front of the car. The side pods now have oblong inlets instead of the square ones that characterized last year's car, and are equipped, as already seen in the case of the Sauber, with a lower lip which has the function of directing the airflow downwards. This flow is channeled into the deeply sculpted lower section of the side pods. All this air will then run along the floor edge, helping to improve the airflow retention of the ground effect floor. This is done by adding cuts and waves to the floor edge, which create vortices between the floor edge and the track surface, trapping air beneath the floor. The less air that can escape the floor, the better the consistency of the Venturi effect created by the ground effect floor. Basically, it'll help create more downforce more consistently. The altered undercut will also help improve the airflow to the beam wing and diffuser, increasing the rear downforce. Moving up the side pods, some of the radiator area has been moved higher up into the car, but the biggest change here, based on Harmon's comments about heat rejection, is that the radiators themselves are now more efficient. Capillary radiator technology, meaning the use of pressure differences to enhance flow, has improved significantly in the last couple of seasons, and is the probable source of the improved efficiency. The upper profile of the side pods slope at the rear section as it did on the A523 to divert the flow to the base of the diffuser area. At the rear, the pushrod suspension has been relocated further forward and with a higher mounting point at the inboard end. This will increase the pushrod's leverage on the inboard suspension rockers, giving the A524 a little more travel in its rear suspension. This should help the team manage their ride height better. In the current generation of cars, the amount of downforce being produced changes significantly based on the speed of the car, especially at the rear where the ground effect floor generates most of its downforce. The more travel, the less compromise there needs to be to encompass the low ride height as the car is at speed and pressing down hard on its suspension, and the higher ride height it assumes at low speeds. Until we see the car on track, it's going to be tough to say whether it's going to help the team move forward or not. The car appears to be a refinement of last season's, but that car wasn't very good, so should they have just scrapped it and started again instead? They will know best, but if it fails, then there will be plenty of accusations that they weren't brave enough. The car might only be the start of the team's worries this season though. Esteban Ocon has left a door open to replacing Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes following his switch to Ferrari, with the French driver only totally dedicated to Alpine for 2024. Alpine have both drivers out of contract at the end of this season, but it is the potential of Ocon to move to Mercedes that is particularly interesting. Ocon fell from 8th place in the 2022 Drivers' Championship with 92 points to 12th with 58 points last year. He still managed to return to the podium for the first time since winning the 2021 Hungarian GP though, with his 3rd place at the Monaco GP. Another podium, or more in 2024, could now help Ocon convince Mercedes to name him as Hamilton's replacement for 2025. Ocon even added fuel to the potential of a reunion with Mercedes at the launch of Alpine's 2024 F1 car, something I'm sure the team weren't too happy about. He joined the Silver Arrows Driver Academy after winning the 2015 GP3 Series title. The Frenchman also remained a part of their program through 2019 before joining Renault. I, obviously, still have strong links with Mercedes, Ocon has told Sky Sports News. I'm still a Mercedes Junior driver, that's no secret to anyone. But I'm totally dedicated to Alpine this year. I've got 24 races to get through, and we'll see where we end up. Ocon has stayed close to the Brackley outfit, as Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff is also his manager. Having strong ties with Mercedes helped Ocon break into F1 at Manor Midway through the 2016 season. Manor used Mercedes engines, and Ocon's early promise for the Minnows led him to join Force India, also Mercedes-powered, for the 2017 and 2018 F1 campaigns. Those same ties could see him move to the Mercedes Works team, as the Silver Arrows find themselves bereft of really exciting options to fill the seat that will be left vacant by Hamilton for 2025. What are your thoughts on the Alpine car? Do you like how it looks, or is all the black getting a bit boring for you too? And what about Esteban Ocon putting himself in contention for the Mercedes seat? Do you think they would go for him? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.